Hey everybody, it's Christian here from Christian's Awesome Animals. So today we're going to be talking about Tiger King, Murder, Mayhem and Madness. You know, that big Netflix documentary that's been out for some months now that I have yet to talk about. So we're going to talk about it today. Now, I can understand some people who have watched it have some mixed feelings about some people that are in the show. So I wanted to address some things. And it's also kind of refreshing to see people see the true colors of the animal rights industry, and especially Carole Baskin down there in Big Cat Rescue. So you know what, let's just jump right into it. So first off, although there are a bunch of people, I want to talk about the main ones that the documentary seemed to focus on. So first off, let's start with Joe Exotic. So Joe had an amazing facility. His enclosures were big open air enclosures. He had unique animal encounters. He educated people. And he had a passion for animals. And that's what drove him to owning and operating a zoo. Also, alongside with the fact that it was a living memorial park. So after his brother unfortunately passed away from a drunk driving accident, he decided to dedicate the zoo to his brother, and other people have come and built enclosures in honor of people that have passed away. So it is a living memorial park that Joe also used for animal education, you know, because it's a zoo, not a sanctuary. We'll talk about that in a minute. He also used his voice for people and fought against laws for animal rights. People don't understand right now. We are in a war. The animal world is in a war right now between animal rights people and animal people. It's an ideology war. It's not a war on what's good for the animals, and it is costing us billions of dollars. Imagine how much of that money could be going to actually helping animals, but instead it's being spent on lawsuits. Now, as I stated, Joe had an amazing facility. It looked like all of his animals were very well cared for. And I think as Carole drove him to insanity and drained him financially, I think his focus kind of eventually just shifted over time, and in the end, it got him. It really did. And he was also, in the end, backstabbed by horrible people that just wanted to hurt him. That's really all they wanted to do. And unfortunately, there really is no real grounds for the whole murder for hire plot. It's really all allegations at this point. So that's probably why they just dumped a bunch of animal charges onto him, just to give him a bigger sentence, since the murder for hire wasn't exactly a ground to stand on. But I hear that they're working on freeing Joe, so we'll see how that goes. What do I think? Should I think he should be freed from jail or not? I don't know. That's something I'm gonna keep to myself, because I know I'm gonna make a certain group angry if I say one thing or the other, so I'll just keep that to myself. But I will say this: Joe had an amazing facility. He really took good care of his animals, from what I've seen, and he used his voice for a good reason. And he lost his focus as he was being drained financially and just surrounded by people that just backstabbed him. Doc Antle, you know, of Myrtle Beach Safari, down there up there in South Carolina. Now, in the documentary, they seem to go over how many wives he has, how many girlfriends he has, and what kind of relations does he have with his staff. And while I can't exactly speak for him on that subject, I can say Doc Antle has come out and addressed those allegations and corrected them. And people need to understand that Tiger King is not necessarily a documentary. It's a wild ride of a reality show that's meant to entertain, not necessarily to educate. So, and let's say that, you know what, Doc Antle, yes, he has stated he does date women. He does date He does have multiple partners, but those are partners that are roughly the same age as him. He's not going out seeking younger females. Not to mention, he's not running like this insane cult. It's an animal facility, guys. It's just a normal animal facility with conservation in mind. And I think the documentary just saw something to twist it and make it more entertaining and more eye-popping. Something that grabs the attention. And even though he does have multiple partners, as he says, I fail to see why that's the point. Who cares how his personal life is? All I really care about is the care of his animals. And I have to say that his facility looks amazing. It's pristine. It's about 50 acres, I want to say. And it is, in his words, it is what I agree, it is a palace for animals. It is this amazing facility where you can see tigers run and you can have these amazing animal encounters, and it's great conservation coming out of it. Now, I also want to know, why were none of the male workers besides Cody featured in the documentary? And he was only featured for 5 seconds, and they only focused on the females. There's male workers at that facility that they just chose not to include. And there is also the allegations of whether or not he euthanizes, baby tigers after they come out of, that age group. You need to understand, Doc Antle, his facility is USDA regulated. He needs to follow guidelines and regulations in order to be open and have the animals. Not to mention, the documentary seemed like tigers are not regulated and people can just go out and buy tigers for like $2,000 and stuff. That couldn't be farther from the truth, guys. Tigers are highly regulated. I can't say the same for all states. But for the most part, tigers are an extremely regulated animal. For one, they're endangered, so killing them is illegal. And in the great words of Doc Antle himself, it's illegal, it's immoral, it's completely impractical. And not to mention, as I said, he is USDA regulated. If he truly were euthanizing cubs left and right, he would have been caught by now, guys. Now, I will say this from my personal experience. He does have, well, I don't know if he has anymore. I haven't been to Jungle Island in a couple years, but I remember he used to have a show down there. He would actually bring the animals there and do educational shows there. I have to say, his animals looked amazing. His shows were amazing. The staff truly were dedicated to the animals and cared about their well-being. Doc Antle's animals looked amazing. His facility looks great. So, we're going to move on to probably the most controversial person on the show, Carole Baskin. What's this? Oh, okay. Hold on. Yeah, Carole Baskin. So a lot of people probably seen the documentary, but for those who haven't, Carole Baskin is the owner and founder of Big Cat Rescue in Tampa, Florida. Sanctuary for, big cats and need and rescue and donate money because we're a rescue, I think you know where this is going. Let me stop. Okay. So in my opinion, there's a difference between an actual sanctuary and a scamtuary. Sanctuaries are places that actually take in retired animals. It is a place where they go to live out the rest of their life. But they don't necessarily come from abuse situations, except in rare cases where, yes, there are real rescues. But for the most part, sanctuaries are actually just a retirement facility for animals. Scamtuaries are places that steal animals, harass people. They completely lie about where your donation money is going to. Those are your scamtuaries, and all the GFAS accredited sanctuaries are scamtuaries. So let's go talk about Carole Baskin real quick. So she actually started off buying and breeding cats. Not to mention, most of her rescues that she says are rescues were actually purchases, and she has even turned down cats that are in need. So I don't get it. It's, Now, will also say that her enclosures looked completely unsafe. It looked like trees were part of the enclosures, which is completely unsafe, especially for hurricanes. The water bowls looked disgusting. The cages didn't look clean. And she seems to... nobody really seems to know how many cats she seems to have. So if you were to take a tour there, you would see maybe about 12, but the website during certain times says about 100. So who knows? She has also hurt so many people, including Don Lewis's family. In fact, she took 90% of his assets from his will. Now, as far as the allegations, did she kill her husband? Did she feed him to the tigers? Honestly, while it is fun to believe something wild and crazy, I am unfortunately gonna have to side with Carole here, because she has said that unless there's a body, she can't prove her innocence. She can't prove anything, so it's all allegations at this point. So nobody really knows what happened to Don Lewis. Maybe she had something to do with the disappearance, but then again, maybe she did not. It's all allegations at this point. What do I think? I do suspect foul play. Whether or not it was Carole who did it or someone else, I have no idea. Let's see. Mind you, she has also harassed and stalked cat people, and she has also sent her supporters to attack them. Even in the documentary, she has admitted she would harass Joe. She would try to stalk him, figure out where his next venue was, convince them all not to have him there, try to get his events canceled, and she has done that with other cat exhibitors. And it's truly sickening, especially since these people are actually doing their part to help big cats, and she's over here trying to shut them down. It's also funny because in the documentary she says a tiger needs about like 200 square miles or 2,000 square miles or so to roam. Yet literally right behind her, there's a tiger going back and forth in an enclosure right behind her. That is certainly not 200 square miles. And she also says no tiger should belong in a cage. So it's like, so what do you call that animal right behind you in? And also you see later a lion named Joseph, who was actually illegally obtained by Carole. You see a lion in a cage. Yes, it's a feeding cage, but it's still a cage. It's still in an enclosure. Not 200 square miles. So it's like, okay, so I don't support you having animals in cages, but I want them in my cages. Because you're a zoo, I'm a sanctuary, therefore I'm better. Right? Sorry to tell you guys, but captivity is captivity, whether it's a zoo or sanctuary. Except zoos are the ones that are actually doing their part for conservation. I'm sorry, scamtuaries are not doing anything for conservation. Sanctuaries are a retired place. There are some sanctuaries out there that are educational and raising awareness about animals, and I do applaud those sanctuaries. Scamtuaries, not so much. Not to mention, she is getting rich off of lying to people. Guys, I'm sorry to tell you, but your donation money's not going to the animals. It's going to legislation and lawmakers and passing the Big Cat Safety Act. It's not going to the care of our animals. If it was, her enclosures would not be looking the way they do. So those are my thoughts on Tiger King. Sorry, I had to wrap this video up. It's already long enough. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget, new videos are going to be coming out every Monday. So thank you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.